All right, it's time to keep it real, nothing lost in translation. Let's get into this wild world examination. Welcome to the first episode of Wild World Examination with your friendly host, Professor Lex, better known as Professor Lex Beats from Hip Hop Examination. If you're not subscribed to that channel, go check it out. Link will be in the description at the end of this video. But this is where I give my thoughts and opinions on everything else going on in the world outside of the world of hip hop. Trending topics, news, relationships, politics, nothing's off limits. And what a way to start, as I have to have a slight critique, actually a more than slight critique, of one of my favorite sportscasters who is in the news for all the wrong reasons right now, Mr. Shannon Sharpe, Uncle Shay, Unc. And before I continue, I just want to say that everything that I'm about to say is my opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. I do not know the facts of this case or this situation. This is just what I've heard through the media and social media as well. It is opinion. It is not fact. It is entertainment. Let's continue. Now, Shannon has found himself in a very precarious situation where I don't think he can come out totally unscathed. Now, let's go through some of the particulars if you're not up on what's happening with this situation. Shannon Sharpe is being accused of sexual assault. He made a statement on his Instagram, and I'll play that clip now.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I will myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about, and I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys.
Now, along with that statement, his lawyer also released text messages that Shannon shared with the young lady who is the accuser. Her name, I believe, is Gabriella Zuniga. Now, there's a lot of false reports out there about her age and when they met and all that kind of stuff. She is 22 as of right now, as you see on the screen. This is her from her Instagram from December of last year of 2024. She turned 22. Either way, she was very young when her and Shannon were engaging in whatever they were engaging in. I'm going to leave it open like that. They met in 2023, so she was probably about 20 years old then, which Shannon being 56, 55 at that time, that's questionable at best behavior. And there's a lot of issues that have sprung up out of this situation occurring, but I want to stick to something that I don't think too many people are talking about, and I'm going to talk about that. But first, I just want to get out of the way. Of course, the racial issue is there with any African-American male dealing with a female of another race, especially a young one in America. I don't think that is as much of an issue here. I know Shannon mentioned that in his statement that I just played. That's not what I see here. Now, Shannon also mentioned the lawyer, Tony Busby, for the accuser, being kind of an ambulance chaser of a lawyer. And he had a frivolous lawsuit against P. Diddy and Jay-Z late last year. And yes, he's known for that. But even that situation, as Jay-Z and Diddy really didn't have anything to do, and there was no proof tying them to what they were accused of in that situation. This is something different, Shannon, because he has a relationship with this young lady, admittedly, right? And the behavior of dealing with someone so young, no matter how they met and how they got together. She's an OnlyFans girl. She may be a escort of a type, and that's what I'm kind of going to get into as far as Shannon being Unc, being an older man, and not really understanding how to maneuver and how to behave out here. First of all, he's too old to be behaving and engaging in things like this with such a young person. Now, like I said in the beginning, I do like Shannon Sharpe as a commentator. He's good at his job. But at the same time, I think his character is very much in question just based on the activity. Forget about the assault thing for a second, or making the young lady do something that was against her will. If everything was consensual, I think what Shannon has to understand, it still makes you look away, and it's a very big hit to your brand, because if you watch Shannon Sharpe on his various vehicles that he has, Club Shay Shay, which is a very good show, one of the biggest podcasts in the world for sure. Nightcap, where he hosts a sports talk show with Chad Ochocinco almost every evening. He was on ESPN's First Take. I don't think he will be resuming that job anytime soon. As he said, he stepped away, but I think Disney, which is the parent company of ESPN, will probably let him go due to just the morality look of the behavior that he's exhibiting. He doesn't have to have had to commit any crime. This is not on brand for who he tries to represent himself to be. Now, I think in a lot of cases, Shannon, it contradicts himself in many ways, because he tries to present himself as a role model of maturity, but at the same time, if you watch Nightcap and you watch some of his antics throughout performing, and again, it's entertainment, so it's not a big deal, but at the same time, when you have this kind of behavior going on behind the scenes, it opens up a new window into what kind of person Shannon may be behind the scenes, and that maybe his moral compass is not what he has presented it to be. Now, with that being the case, that is a choice Shannon made, right? That has nothing to do with him being black or a man or none of that, right? I can remember one Nightcap where Chad Ochocinco was late to the recording, and Shannon took like 5 to 10 minutes to chastise him just about being late. And Chad Ochocinco has a lot of other responsibilities and businesses that he's a part of. But Shannon, kind of has this control problem. And it came across also when he was on the show with Skip Bayless. On Skip Bayless's show, he was kind of the guest host on the show. The power dynamic there wasn't going to last, because I don't think Shannon could take being in the second seat to Skip and being kind of under Skip. Not that he should have, because he was much more talented and much better at the job than Skip was. But you stay there for a while, get your name up, and then you leave without any friction and any kind of emotional outbursts and things like that. And Shannon did not succeed in doing that, in keeping a mature stance, right? And keeping a stance of independence, and to me, as maturity as a man, right? He let Skip get under his skin repeatedly and had some emotional outbursts, and eventually had to leave the show, which was understandable. But I think he should have left because he was being successful and more successful than Skip was, and not due to any friction between he and Skip. He shouldn't have let Skip get to him like that. But this is what I'm talking about as far as his character being concerned. And another thing I think Shannon kind of suffers from, again, that's contradictory to what he sometimes represents, is a little bit of Peter Pan syndrome, a little bit of not wanting to be an older guy, right? He constantly and consistently represents the old dude in the club that needs to go home. Shannon is 56, almost 60 years old. I am almost a decade younger than Shannon, or a little more than a decade younger than Shannon Sharpe is. And there's no way I would find myself talking to, let alone engaging in any kind of relations with, somebody who's 20 to 22 years old, 23 years old. 20. To me, you should wait till young people are fully developed, which is about 25, 26 years old. Wait till their brains are fully developed. And most of us who are of age know this, and Shannon knows this. So it looks bad, and it looks like he was trying to find someone to manipulate, someone who would be easy to maybe control in engaging with this young lady, no matter what. Him leaning on the fact that it was consensual is not going to save his brand. Now, do I believe he committed, well, they're not suing him for anything criminal, so I definitely don't believe he committed anything, any kind of crime, right? Otherwise, I think they would bring criminal charges against him as well. Not saying that he's totally innocent, because they didn't, but it does make it look iffy. But even that, him trying to make this statement and saying he's going to be transparent, Shannon, it really doesn't help, because you should know better in engaging in things like this. He had a scandal where he was caught having relations on Instagram Live, and he says, well, he doesn't know how the phone went to Instagram Live. That is not believable for those of us who know how all this technology works. And that gets me into another issue Shannon has. What I said about Peter Pan syndrome is older men, look, we live in a time where technology moves very fast and it changes society very fast. And there's an overexposure of people who are not technologically literate into trying to engage in social media too much. Now, Shannon brags on his show that he doesn't know a lot about social media and technology and computers and phones, and he has people do it for him, right? But at the same time, you're engaging with a person who only knows life in the technological age, in the information age, in the internet age, and you're wondering how you got set up in this fashion. Well, message to all my old heads out there, right? If you are 40 and above, OnlyFans and a lot of the apps that we use for social media has a very heavy undertone. Now, this is not the fault of the providers of the social media. This is not what they intended these platforms for. But as far as OnlyFans is concerned, the undertone of it is escorting, okay? And not up and up escorting, okay? There's a lot of scamming and taking advantage of people that goes on these platforms, and you have to be careful. Every social media platform, right? And if you are old head and an older person, what always glitters is not gold. What looks good can come at a price. And I think Shannon is a country boy, so he may not be very street smart and understand how these things work and how you're being set up from the beginning when somebody tries to engage you in the type of text messages that he released that I'll show on the screen here. I'm not going to read any of them, and I'm just going to show them for a second. You can go to his Instagram and see what they have to say, but they were very racy, especially for such a young lady to be talking like this to a 56-year-old man. You know what I'm saying? So the setup is there. You know what I'm saying? If you're from the inner city like I am, I'm from Chicago, you understand what this is. This is a setup for the type of situation that Shannon ends up in now, which he called the shakedown, which is blackmail, whatever you want to call it, right? But this is the price you pay for being a freaky frog and being too loose with that kind of behavior. You already know it's not acceptable when you're trying to do business out here and represent brands. Why would you engage with someone who, in most of our eyes that are older, is a kid? Why would you do that, right? With everything that happened last year with Diddy, with Drake and Kendrick battle, with Andrew Tate, with all of these people, so many people being caught, not only messing with underage people, but just acting inappropriately in general with females and some vice versa. So much of this is in the media right now. What is going on in Shannon's mind that would enable him to continue this relationship with this young lady? Let's say they had a fling or something like that. It should have ended there. You know, she has some phone recordings that they played. Now, do the phone recordings sound doctored? Yes, they do. But does that really matter, from an optics standpoint? It'll matter in the court of law. And you may win, you may lose in the court of law civilly. But I think the damage is done just because of the behavior. And I think many of us who are not freaky frogs, or if you are a freaky frog, listen, you have to learn how to maneuver a little bit better than this and be discreet and make sure everything is on the up and up and deal with adult professionals. That's the problem here. And if you don't know what you're doing, for all my older people out there, right? All my middle-aged people out there who don't really understand maneuvering around the internet and around social media, do not do it. Do not engage in anyone trying to DM you or engage with you that you know nothing about this person on social media. Don't do it. Most of the time it's a setup, okay? There are a lot and many of the IG models and people that you see posting themselves on social media, okay, with suggestive posts and trying to get you to engage with them in some kind of way. Most of those young ladies and men, some of those men too, are backed by conglomerates that this is what they do. They're scammers, okay? There are companies, whole companies built that scam people, okay? They use foreign accounts, they use foreign workers, all right? Foreign tech people, whether it be in India, whether it be in Nigeria, to engage with people to get money out of all of you old heads on the internet thinking that some young lady wants to talk to you. They do not. You're not even talking to a young lady most of the time. And if you are engaging with a young lady in person and things like that, that you met over OnlyFans, they are more than likely hustling you. And something like this is going to come of that, especially if you have any kind of money at all. You all need to, like Monique told Shannon on Club Shay Shay, go look up that episode. You all need to get with people who are closer to your own age, that you know personally, and do whatever you got to do or whatever you want to do. As two consenting grown adults, nobody really cares. Okay, you can freaky frog to your heart's desire, but this kind of thing is going to keep happening as long as people can't keep their egos in check. And Shannon, this is a character issue. You need some counseling, brother, because I think you have a power issue. There may be a little bit of narcissistic personality there. You got to get that in check, brother. You're going to lose everything, because this is close to that, right? But one or two more of these situations, and yeah, man, everything's going to be lost. And that would be unfortunate, because I think the brother can provide some positivity to the culture and to the community. But he's going to have to get this kind of thing under control, man, because this is a really bad look. You know, this is me in my YouTube professional voice. You know what I'm saying? If it was behind the scenes, I would say some different things. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this situation. Let me know what y'all think about all of this in the comments below. Let me know if, especially if I know a lot of my listeners are around my age or some even older. Let me know what y'all think about everything that I just put forth. And if you have any situations that you ran into online or anything like that, stay out of them DMs with these people you don't know. Stay out of that. They're not trying to, most of the time it's a setup. Don't do it unless you know what you're doing. This is a tangle web we weave. I'm going to do more shows on this channel, because I see that this is a problem that people really don't understand. I don't see a lot of people talking about the networks that are behind these so-called IG models and things like that, and the way that it's kind of fished to foreign accounts and all of this kind of stuff. Like, it's a big web of scamming and deception going on that a lot of people don't know about. You don't see a lot of it in the mainstream media, and I think that is because a lot of our entertainers, a lot of our politicians, and a lot of those people not only benefit from it, but also participate in it. That'll be in future shows, though. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Y'all know what to do. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you haven't hit that like button yet, hit subscribe. If you're not subscribed, got 40 subscribers trying to get this channel up, get it monetized. Help me out if you can. If you're a fan of the channel, y'all already know. If you came over here from Professor Lex Hip Hop Examination, hit that subscribe button. This is where I'm gonna be discussing all the other stuff that goes on in the world outside of music. And y'all already know, share this video, tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank y'all for watching this always. And we out.